Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my show Rocket Monday. In today's episode we're going to take a closer look at Bigelow Aerospace. So let's dive right into it. Now this is basically another private dream, same as Jeff Bezos, same as Elon Musk. So basically Robert Bigelow is a guy and he made his fortune using budget suites of America. Basically he was a builder and very successful one at that. So he made a fortune. It's not a guy who okay, I did small things. No, this guy has loaded pockets. So he establishes this company, Bigelow Aerospace, in 1999. Now you have to understand, every company is established, they must have some USP, as in like what are they offering. Now are they making rockets? No, that's not their mission. Their mission is expanding module technology. Basically, where do people live in space? That's their department. Basically, home in space, that's their department. They are not making rockets, that's not their technology. They are not doing long range space rovers or things of that nature. They are just making modules for space that is expanding. So that's the idea. Now if you think Elon Musk tweets about a lot or talks a lot, and Jeff Bezos is very quiet and very reserved, this guy is so reserved that nobody even knew, including his wife, that he was doing it. So this guy is like an invert of Elon Musk. Basically like he wants to do it, he has the money, he has the willpower, and is working behind the scene and nobody even knows it. Now you have to understand, 1990, that makes it 20 years old. So the first year, as in 2000, after the creation, they hit a golden luck. Now what happened was NASA was going through what we call budget cut. Now that budget cut happened simply because a space shuttle was not as efficient as the thought, and second, this is the time Mir space station was still in orbit. Now Mir space station was like such a big success. Now of course it wasn't the greatest because it was the first of its kind, but it was a very big success. So America had a lot of pressure to do something, and when I say pressure, I don't mean just by Americans. There was a lot of pressure from NATO countries also. So they came up with the idea of International Space Station, this puppy. However, the estimated cost of this puppy was so high that even Americans are like, bro, no, just no. So during that cost cutting, NASA was also developing something known as expanding modules, basically a module that blows up like a balloon. So the idea was you will shrink it down, ship it to space, and then expand it. The benefit of that, there are certain benefits, it will become more apparent. So this technology was developed, patents were made, but that patent was sold off for money, and it was done in year 2000, just 1 year after the creation of Error. And this module is generally known as trans-have transfer. So basically this technology is now transferred and it is now in the hands of Bigelow Aerospace. So this was their lucky part. So they established a company, they got the technology and patents from NASA. So then the question becomes, why expanding habitat? We haven't done something like this, then why the hell bother with this? Now you have to understand, first thing you will think, instead of blowing it up like a balloon, why not make it folding? Basically, it unfolds like a RV or things of that nature. The reason for that is, in space, this structure is very, very simple. That is a core element of it. Like, it's much simpler than having an expanding modules that unlock and unfold, dock again, things of that nature. This is much simpler. So that's number one. Second, this literally turns out in all the testing that it's much stronger than hard body. Now you have to understand, when you have hard body and an impact happens, hard body will stay still and things will go through it, basically like a bullet hole. Now in this, because it can bend, flex, and absorb a lot of kinetic energy, it survives much better. Now it does not mean like you have a meteoroid that can go through ISS and it will bounce off this. It won't happen. But let's say you have small meteorite, it can puncture holes in ISS. In this, it won't. So it is much more resilient. Now when I say much more, do not expect like that means it can be bombarded by whatever you want. It's just more, it's better. So not only you have simpler structure than folding habitats, you also get basically more resilience compared to like hard body objects. Now on top of that, the payload capacity is crucial. If you have seen any rocket launches in recent years, you may have noticed some rockets that have payload fairing that is bigger than the rocket itself. Now those can be created, but again, payload fairing also costs a boatload of money, and on top of that, it also causes aerodynamic stress. So you don't want a ludicrously large payload. So this allows us to shrink things down. That is the reason why people want to do it. Basically, you will have a core element which is metal, and it will have all the electronics and everything, basically air reclamation, everything you need in terms of like hardware wise, it will be in the core, and this balloon would be where people will live, and this will expand once you are in space. And this also allows for basically better radiation shielding. You have to also understand, because a lot of polymer is used, and polymers are generally made of hydrogen. Hydrogen is very good at blocking radiation. It's better than aluminum. So this is why this is chosen. So like, okay, there are certain benefits. It's not like, okay, it gives you more space compared to hard body. No, it also gives you more resilience. It's much it shrinks down your payload capacity, as in like not the weight, not as in like it will weight exactly the same as a hard body, but it will be bigger. Basically, once you are in space, you will be bigger. And if you try to do it with hard body, this like hard body would be so big that you won't have the ability to put it on a rocket. Basically, the payload capacity volume would be an issue. So this is why we are going with expanding modules. Now, many companies come out, many companies have grand ideas. This puppy, on the other hand, they have actual experience. And I told you, like, this company is very secretive. And when I say secretive, it's not like they are like hiding it. You can Google it whatever you want. It's just they are not doing a lot of fanfare. So you have to understand, they tested it out, like actual space testing with Genesis 1 in July 12, 2006. This is the first image. Basically, they are tested with this thing. They know what they are doing. They tested it, and this successfully stayed in orbit for 2 years, and even after that it kept working on. So there was no damage, anything like this. And in Genesis 2, which they launched in 28 June, my birthday, 2007, basically that also worked flawlessly. Now you have to understand this is actual space testing, like same way Dragon 2 is being tested right now without like unmanned scenario. This is reaching that exact state, and they reached it in 2006. On top of that, once NASA saw, okay, these guys are serious, these guys know what they're doing, the company, basically Bigelow Aerospace, went to SpaceX. It's like, hey, we want to put one payload to basically ISS, can you do it? SpaceX is like, okay, we're gonna do it. And they put this beam module, basically Bigelow expanding activity module. Now this is a module that is right now, as I talk to you, docked with International Space Station. As you can see, there's a human inside. Now of course it's mostly kept locked simply because of safety reasons, because they are still in testing phase. But just to prove the point, like it is there, it is in space, it expanded, the volume became bigger, there is no puncture, there is nothing, like it is working, and radiation level is exactly the same as ISS. So everything about them is tested. Like if they are saying something, they can do it. So understand this at this point they are far more ahead than any other manufacturer that is claiming to do anything even close to this. So not only they tested very early on, as in 2006, they already have a module in ISS, and on top of that, ISS, like the module was supposed to be there for 2 years, but 2 years is over. But if the module is working so well, they're like, yeah, let's just leave it there for further testing. So you have to understand, they have actual experience, not just hoo-ha, they have actual experience. And those dreams are like, they are building step by step. They have much bigger dreams, as in the dreams are so big that it requires a lot of money. Now for them, there is one good advantage they have, is that they are NASA approved. Now you may be like, okay, that does not matter. No, it does matter to investor. When you go to someone and it's like, yeah, okay, you want to build a space hotel, who is backing your technology? You're like, yeah, NASA is backing it. Again, money will start flowing. So that's a very crucial element. So the fact that they are NASA approved really helps them a lot. On top of that, their tech is already tested. If they say to an investor, yeah, we want to build something like that, they don't nobody was going to give them a lot of money. Small bit of money, 10-20 million, okay, but if you want to billions of dollars, you need to put something more concrete. They can say like, yeah, you know, ISS, we already have a thing there. So that also creates a very strong belief in the company. Basically, investors can be like, yeah, I think this guy can pull it off. And on top of that, what they want to build, I'm simply not going to go into this in this video, simply because they have a lot of dream, and they have multiple dreams in multiple stages and ready to go. So like just in around 2020 to 2025, they will start doing these things, and you can see they are going for big. Now this space station, that Olympus space station that they want to build, it will be one basically single launch. You're just going to go in space and expand it. It will have more living area, as in more space, than entirety of International Space Station. So understand this, they are aiming for big, and they have the technology. That is crucial aspect. It's not like, you know, oh, they want to do it. No, they have the technology, they have tested enough. At this point, it's just either BFR comes online and they're gonna do it, or SLS Block 2, because it is still big. Like it is still big. Yeah, of course you can shrink it down, but you can't shrink it down to like, you know, 1 meter by 1 meter. So it's gonna shrink down, but they still need a big rocket. So whatever rockets comes online, and depending on their financial situation, this can be in space in as early as 2030. And do understand that this is one module which is bigger than ISS, and they are planning for adding multiple module and creating a space industry, and you can pay as much as 20 to 30 million dollar per month. So That is peanuts. That is so cheap. ISRO can launch their own astronauts. That is so cheap, like Australia can do it. So there is a lot of big things about to happen because of this. So they have very large dreams. So do understand the fact they are NASA approved, the fact they are tested, the fact they have big goals. They're gonna be playing a very big role in upcoming space age. Not in the rocket, but where you're gonna stay, basically where you're gonna park your rocket. So they're gonna be like, yeah, we are the parking, basically we are the habitat in space. So this was my presentation on Bigelow Aerospace. I hope you liked it or learned from it. In that case, please leave a like and also click the ads that are shown in this video. That will directly help me. And if you didn't like it, don't worry about it. You can press dislike. I would urge you to press it twice to show me your extra disappointment. And please leave a comment because I reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free. And as always, thanks for watching.